Welcome back to another video on Android programming. Today we are going to get introduced to activities of Android. So this is where the back end of Android programming starts from. So an activity, as you can see, I'm already at the Android developers platform, and we're going to look at the definition of activity through the notes first. Then after reading about it, then we shall go and do the real practice of Android activities. So, the Android developers, or the one who created Android, they define activity as a single forecast thing. They also don't know its exact meaning, but it's just a single and forecast thing that the user can do in an application. It's just that single window that a user can do with an application. And when you shall go to practicals, you'll see what is really meant by activity. But a single window that we are displaying at a particular time on the screen of the user's phone is what we call an activity. So almost all activities interact with the user, since we say that activity is all about what is displayed on the screen. So it means that the user can interact with the activity through the screen. And the activity classes, they take and create a new window of the user interface using the sent content view. So this sent content view, it will set our layout to appear. This set content view inside the activity, it will set our layout to appear on the user's screen. I'll not read all the notes, but I'm going to look at the most important parts. So the most important part here is that every activity must implement on create method. So this on create method, it will be called automatically by the Android operating system when we implement an activity. I repeat that every activity must implement the on create method or the on create function, because it will be automatically called by the Android operating system, and it's where the activity itself or the window will be initialized, or it is where the activity will start working from. So when this is called the on create, the next line that you write inside on create will start being executed. So if you don't put anything in the inside on create, then it means that your activity will not do anything. So on create, if you ever started C programming, we had what we call a main function, and the main function was the first function which was called when we start a C program. So if we relate that C programming to Android programming, on create is the main function for an activity. It will be called automatically when we start an activity. So we shall learn how to link the views using the IDs. Then we have other method that will be called, for example, when you pause the activity, which method, how shall we know that someone has paused the activity or is leaving the activity? So we shall look at all those other methods that you can do, that you can simply implement to detect that someone is leaving our application has gone in background, someone has come back, something like that. Those are instances or the events that we're going to look at in this video. But the very first incident or the very first event is when our app starts or when our activity starts. This on create method is what is called, and that's a must that we should always implement it. So that one brings us to the activity lifecycle. You can come and read these notes, but here I'm going to just concentrate much on the practicals. So this is our activity lifecycle. Let's just look at it. So when someone opens our application, this activity will be opened. Our activity will be opened, and then the operating system automatically will call the on create, just like the way I said before. So it will call the on create method, and after calling the on create method, it will call also on start method. So it means that if you're to do something before another thing, you can first put it on create, then the other thing that follows you put on starts. For example, if we to check someone if he's logged in or not logged in before you proceed, you have to put that thing inside on create when the activity starts. Then you make a decision whether it can be proceed and display the activity, or send him or redirect him to another activity. And then this on create will call on start, and the on start will also call on resume. And these are the methods that we can either necessarily listen to or not listen to. And it means that we cannot come to on resume before we come to what on start. Then the activity will start running after the on resume. So there are other events. So these are the three events that we've looked at: on create when the activity begins, on start after the activity has started, and then on resume when the activity is resuming or is running now. And then after the activity will start running. So here between when the activity is running, we can do anything that we want to do when the activity is open, after getting these different events that can be helpful to us. Then after as the activity will be running, these following events may also happen. On pause, and this on pause is when maybe a user is switching to another activity. Another activity, or is switching to another application. So our activity will call, the Android operating system will call on pause. For example, our user has been using our application, then he leaves and go to use another application. This on pause will be called. So if you want to listen to that incidents, you can listen to it. So if we come back to this activity after the on pause, we shall again come to on resume. So what you should know that after the pause, the activity will not be started again. I don't know whether you've ever seen that. If you're on a certain screen, like maybe you're on Facebook and you're sending a message, then someone sends you a message on WhatsApp. So if you switch to WhatsApp and then you come back to Facebook, you'll find that the page where you stopped at, or the activity that you stopped at, it has resumed from where you were. Or say, for example, you're replying people on WhatsApp, and then someone calls you, and then you pick the call, you talk. After talking the call, you see there's other things on the screen, but when you go back to WhatsApp, you see the WhatsApp did not open from scratch, but it resumed from where it stopped from. So that's what happens. So it went to pause, and then after pausing, we opened, and then it began to on resume, but it did not come back to to on start. So it resumed, and then you found the messages while they're still open. So those are the incidents that we can listen to. So after resuming, there's also another incident that can happen on stop. On stop is when our activity is removed from the memory. For example, you are replying messages on WhatsApp, then before you close WhatsApp, you went to Facebook. After you were going to Facebook, you went and played a game. After playing a game, you went and make calls, and then our memory got low and low and low. Then if the memory of the phone is used up, that activity will be removed out of the memory, and then it will call the on stop to remove that activity out of the memory, such that when you come back, you'll see that your WhatsApp, you did not close it, but it is starting afresh, So it means that it was not closed, but it stopped, but it is doing it is starting. And you'll see as if the place where you stopped at, if you stopped at the messages and you went and do a lot of activities or a lot of things behind, you'll find that the step that the position where you left your WhatsApp is not the position that you'll find it at this moment. And you'll find that your WhatsApp is opening afresh, or is bringing the start home page, and then it will do it will resume, and then the activity will continue. And that happens when you've used the whole process, and then this activity can also be killed to be removed from the memory, and you see it doing you see it displaying the very first screen when your application is run, is as if you're running application for the very first time. So that is when they call the on pause, when the memory is used up, or when you close the application manually. Then this on stop will do will be called. So on pause, it will resume, but on stop, it will again open afresh. That's what you should know. and you can listen to all these incidences. Again, some other thing that can happen is on destroy. So once you destroy, say for example you close the application manually and you stop it from the activity, from the services, then it will call this on destroy, and this application or the activity will be shut down and you cannot come back. Once you come back, it will again do what? It will again launch the activity or the Android application afresh. The Android activity instances, how they're implemented: we have the on start, on restart, on resume, on pause, the on stop, and on destroyed, and we have already discussed them here. So if we proceed, you can come and read more about these methods, and they're very cool notes that you can come and look at and then understand what is really meant by these instances that we have just discussed in this diagram. So in the next video, we are going to create a new application. We are going to look at each of these instances and we see how we can implement them one by one in different situations of our apps. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll not miss in the next video, and if not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe now, and remember to like and share this video if you found it helpful. Let's meet in the next video where we're going to look at what? We're going to look at the implementation of these different events. Thank you for watching.